Jai Hind everyone, I am Ujjwal Anand Singh. I welcome you all to the channel Aspirants Beyond the Rank, where we are decoding the Hindu editorial every day. So, here is a editorial that says, does the civil services examination need reform? So, let's see what changes are needed to make the three-tier exam system a less cumbersome process. Okay, before going to that, we will read the gist. After independence, the Kothari Committee in 1975 recommended a three-tier examination comprising a prelims, that is we say prelims, a descriptive main examination and an interview. So here is an important point. The Kothari committee has recommended the three-tier exam of UPSC. In 2005, with the passing of the Right to Information Act. So the Right to Information Act was passed when? In 2005. Aspirants flooded the UPSC with queries regarding the rationale of the exams, and the UPSC had to disclose its methods, which were raised for judicial scrutiny. Third, the preliminary examination, which was designed to select the most deserving, has now become a jealous gatekeeper with the sole objective of reducing over 5 lakh aspirants to around 10,000. So the prelims exam basically has introduced where around 5 lakh students appeared for the exam, which reduces the aspirants from 5 lakh to 10,000. Okay, now read this. The foundations of the present format of civil services examination can be traced to the Macaulay report of 1854. So the foundation was started with the Macaulay report that was published in 1854, which introduced selection by merit and designed an examination on the principle of transferability of academic talent to administration. So this basically the Macaulay report of 1854 was introduced to select the deserving candidates on the basis of merit, on the principle of transferability of academic talent to the administration. Who are talented, they can be transferred to the administration part. After the independence, the 1975 Kothari Committee recommended a three-tier examination comprising a prelims, a descriptive main examination, and an interview. So basically, if somebody asks you when was the three-tier examination was introduced, it was in 1975 by the Kothari Committee. If we see at the initial format, the prelims exam comprised of an optional subject. It comprised of an optional subject and a common general studies paper with a weightage of 2:1. That means if there are 30 questions in an exam, 20 questions would have come from the optional subject, and one will, and for the one paper that is common general studies, 10 questions will be given respectively. After the prelims exams, only the names of the certified aspirants for the main exams were released by the UPSC. So before, what used to happen was, when you are giving the prelims exam, only those candidates who have qualified the exam, those their names were listed in the PDF. Okay, currently also if you see the CDS exam, so those candidates who have qualified the written exam, only their roll numbers are shown. The questions paper, the marks scored by the aspirants, and the minimum qualifying marks were kept classified and not made public. So before, was the question paper, how many marks does the candidate scored, the minimum, what was the minimum qualifying marks, these all things were were kept closed. Okay, they were kept classified, they were not made public. For many years, this black box nature of the prelim exam ensured its smooth conduct, as there was no locus standi for an aspirant to question the result. Okay, because it was not shown, the marks were not shown, the result were not shown, the question paper was not shown. So it was no one is going to ask a question on the result. When in 2005, When the Right to Information Act was passed, aspirants flooded the UPSC with queries regarding the rationale of the exams, and the UPSC had to disclose its method, which were raised for judicial scrutiny. Okay, so since when the Right to Information Act was passed in 2005, so aspirants were eager to know about their marks, the result. So they were asking questions to UPSC. So the UPSC had to disclose its method. To resolve this issue, the government appointed the SK Khanna Committee. So a committee was appointed that is called SK Khanna Committee in 2010. In 2011, based on the Khanna Committee, optional paper was replaced with a common paper. Now, what was done was before there was used to be an optional paper. You can choose any paper, but that was replaced with a common paper, and the prelim exam was reconstituted to comprise two papers. And the prelim exam, where there used to be one paper, was reconstituted to comprise two papers. Paper one that covers all conventional areas in general studies, and paper two that comprise question on quantitative aptitude, reasoning, and English comprehension. However, this format favored students from urban centers with a good foundation in English. Avi, if you see, it is more helpful for the those candidates who are living in cities, those who have studied in good schools, but those candidates who are coming from village areas, do not have a good uh, English, do not have a good vocabulary, do not have good communication skills. So they were lacking in this exam, as only the combined score of paper 1 and paper 2 were taken. Because because the combined score, how many scores you were scoring, that is taken, they could qualify at the prelims even though they scored relatively less in paper 1. Even though if they are scoring less, the combined marks were really going high by combining the both the papers. For those students who were living in the urban areas, who have studied in good schools, this led to more protests, and consequently the government made paper 2 a qualifying paper, which led, so the government, after protest, the government made the paper 2 just a qualifying paper, and the marks were not added to determine the merit. The preliminary exam continues in the same format. Still, the prelim exam is continued in the same format till now. If we talk about the further reforms, in 2012, the government appointed Arun Nigvarkar Committee to suggest a new model. The committee made many recommendations with the aim of making the exams a less cumbersome process. The accepted changes were incorporated in, sorry, from 2013. So in 2013, there were some changes. The new scheme comprised restructured papers in general studies, covering diverse areas like Indian polity, governance, economy, science, and technology, etc. So these part were uh, brought in the paper. The scheme continues to date. Until now, this is how the paper comes. There are still distortion, but still there are some problems that must be addressed. First, what the problems? First is the prelim exam, which was designed to select the most deserving, has now become a jealous gatekeeper. The is a gatekeeper with the sole objective, or the main objective of the prelim exam is to reduce the number of aspirants from appearing in the second paper of the examination, where 5 lakh students appear every year for UPSC exam. 5 lakh, and one cannot say that only 10,000 students every year is just eligible for the mains exam. How those candidates who are scoring just 1 mark or zero point 0.5 marks less cannot say that they are less deserving, because you do not have the seat. That doesn't make other feel, you are making others feel that they are not deserving. Okay, you do not have the seat, but you are trying to say that you are not deserving. Paper 2, which is a qualifying paper, favors students with a background in science and engineering, and is a challenge for humanities students. If we talk about the paper 2, we see that, which is a qualifying paper, you just need to qualify paper 2, but it favors the students whose background is in science, if you are a science background student, or you are an engineer or from an engineering background, which is a challenge for the humanity students, those students who have chosen humanity, that is very challenging paper to even qualify that paper. Paper 1, which comprises questions that test knowledge in areas that are needed for a career in the administrative services. Okay, we can see that. Okay, that paper 1 is, you are asking the questions that is necessary for the services. But the paper that is coming has increasingly unpredictable, means that anything is coming in the paper. Due to this, an aspirant who appears for the exam with a genuine desire to serve the country and is devoting his prime time to prepare for the same incurs a huge opportunity cost. Okay, a huge opportunity cost is incurred by these candidates, because the question, the pattern is just, I don't know, means they are asking anything. The main examination also needs a few changes. Even if you talk about the main examination, the general studies paper have 20 short answer questions. So there are total 20 short questions, and feedback from aspirants indicate that marks are being awarded for factual points. Okay, so more marks are awarded for the factual points than the analysis. If you are writing an analysis of a question, you're not going to get the marks. But if you're writing facts, you are going to get more marks. There are no long form questions. There are no long form questions which test the much required analytical skills for the future of the future civil servants. If anyone is going to the civil services to serve the society, he needs to be think of by himself, not by the answer that is that he read somewhere, that the facts that he read on newspaper, on Google, or on chat gpts. So uh, there should be a process where the where the answers were written as where the analysis were done. There should be awarded more that should be given more marks than the factual answers. There are no long form questions sorry. Okay. Also, the annual reports of the UPSC indicate that majority of the aspirants select optional that are more scoring than their own domain. Even we have seen that in every year, the aspirants are choosing optional subjects that are more scoring than their own domain. If someone is from BSc Maths honors, but they are still choosing history or polity, or because they are more scoring, they can easily score in those subjects. So that is a concern. These aberrations needs to be corrected. These all problems need to be corrected, and the optional may be replaced by two papers which cover governance and policy. And this optional paper needs to be replaced by two papers that should cover governance and policy. It is high time that the exam scheme is revisited. Okay, so basically it was written by Gopal Krishna V, who is the director of Brain Tree, Hyderabad. Thank you.